Welcome to the Didi and Lital Show. Advice, thoughts, and stories from a married couple on cybersecurity, technology, and life in general. Now here are your hosts, Didi and Lital.
Hello and welcome to the Didi and Lital Show. What's up, Didi?
Football's back. Football. We have football.
Okay. And?
Drake May is so good looking. So good looking.
Are you going to get into college hockey now that we're going to have a kid in college and like there is a D1 team in his school?
College hockey is even worse. Remember when we had the VHL All-Stars and our team used to pound 3 out of the 4 teams into the ground easily, and then there was this one team that had this one kid that is probably going to be drafted into the NHL soon, that played for the South Shore Kings and basically just ran through our entire team easily, even though every one of the guys that used to play for that team are now AAA players, and that guy just went through all these people. He may play in the AHL. And what happens when you get to see college hockey, you'll see the same thing. You'll see the first 2 lines that are basically college, the high draft picks of the NHL teams, and they basically make the other kids look horrible. It's very imbalanced.
I was basically shocked by the fact that if Ron wants to get a season ticket for RIT hockey, it's $500, like WTF for a student.
For 10 games.
Still, $50 a game for a student in this school?
Yes.
Like, what? How do students afford to, it's a lot of money for kids. I thought it's going to be $200.
I think...
we didn't get him the season tickets.
I think compared to everything else, that's...
I mean, of course, but yeah, I mean, for the students, it's supposed to be as cheap as, I don't know, $10.
There's a reason why we sent the smart child to learn in the smart country versus the dumb kid in the dumb country. Here, everything, they milk you for money. He's walking with the stupid gear and the stupid shirt. Who the fuck cares 20 years later if you went to Michigan? I don't care. All these people walking around with their college bullshit. Look, you see me going around with Tel Aviv gear? I couldn't care less. They gave me a degree in 2008. Since then, we
didn't even show up to the graduation ceremony. Oh, we did show up to your graduation ceremony for PhD. They didn't even have a cap and gown.
Yes,
because you had a PhD. You didn't wear a cap and gown.
I was the fucking valedictorian.
No cap and gown. It's like for like the biggest university in Israel. Now they have it. That's a new thing. Now they have cap and gowns. They're Americanized. They become a real institutes.
But
I think Reichman got the whole American thing in that. Like, I don't know, somebody comes for 10 months of like a program and they get the graduation ceremony.
Still the branding is who cares about the branding? This is the thing that it's actually...
you can have end of your unit thing. Well, nobody will wear your unit T-shirt. If you were in Givati, Golani, you would have...
If you were in Givati and Golani, somebody shot at you and you had to run for 8...
T-shirt.
You should have the T-shirt. That is actual proof of something.
This is like a Marines.
Yes, the fact that you basically... smoked pot, got laid, and partied for 4 years on your parents' dime doesn't make you a Harvard graduate. This is like all this...
It makes you a Harvard graduate. You say you shouldn't wear the T-shirt.
Have
you ever seen me wearing a Columbia whatever? No.
That's the thing, that we couldn't care less. We care about real-world achievements versus not. And by the way, this is actually related to the theme of this show. Why is it related to the theme of the show?
What?
One of the biggest things that people like to say is they want to say us and them. They want to say the company does this. They want to say that the others.
So start with how it always starts, like you preaching me.
Let's start at the beginning, in the dawn of time.
Yeah.
In the dawn of time.
Yes.
So when our kids were knee-high, not my size.
When I was still working at P&G?
No. That was it was one of actually.
Yeah, it wasn't P&G.
No. It was in the first time I really rammed into you. P&G, you also said P&G does this, P&G does that. But with P&G, it's a little harder. I'll explain later why sometimes.
No, you didn't say. Don't say P&G.
Even in P&G, I wanted you to separate between what Sophie does. And
Sophie was my boss.
She was the
GM in Israel. She was great.
Versus what the company rules are. So I'll start with an easier example.
Yeah, we're going into the thick of it.
We're going into the theme. Let's go into the first example that we could have walked through, and then I'll go back into P&G and go forward in time into Cisco. But the first easy example was when you were in Rapid7, and Jay, sorry about this, but your boss was a dick, at least a dick to you. Dana will be upset at me if she hears the episode because she really likes Jay.
I like him too. We're friends.
So, but the fact is, you kept saying the company does this, the company does this. I said, no, it's not the company, it's Jay. Jay specifically has specific behaviors and specific requirements, specific communication style. And you need to address the problem. It's not the company, it's not them, it's not... Sometimes you have conflict with the product management group, and you'll say it's product management.
Yeah, I do think...
And then I'll tell you, no, it's not product management. It is specific individuals, usually one or two people, that sometimes the group, the whole organization rallies behind them because they also work in the us and them state of mind. But a lot of times you'll see things getting arranged very fast between engineering and product, engineering and design, design and product. It's like us and them. It's the group. It's the tribal aspect. And you want to point... you don't want to point at an individual and say, you don't want to say it's the individual's example, it's the company. And it was the same thing that you had in other companies themselves. And I said, no, it's a group of individuals.
Or one individual
exhibiting a specific behavior. Other people are learning from that behavior and are doing that same thing.
So your whole topic today is this human tendency that we all have to kind of be hurt of something or dislike or be annoyed or kind of see something done to us.
Yes.
Usually at work. Maybe it's relevant also in other spaces.
What do you mean? That's the whole us and them politics.
Yeah.
The whole us and them politics.
Basically, not... when you see something that you don't like, we have the tendency of just blaming the organization, the company, the group, the day, instead of identifying that there is no day. It's a collection of individuals with decision-making authority and styles. And, people we talked about agency.
Yes.
Each individual has an agency to act in a certain way or the other way. And we're blaming a collective. Well, the reality is that it's maybe a few individuals. Usually it's one individual, head of, or, somebody that is leading a certain way of doing stuff. And he's the one responsible for that. And he's the one that can also change it. And I think what you want to say is by us saying the company, this group, the engineering is so bad, they don't deliver anything. I'll give you so many examples of I've been in companies. I'll give an example. We are marketing, comes the conference. We need to launch something because you need to launch something for a conference, bring something new. And you're like, engineering cannot deliver a thing in this company.
Yep.
I need to make up shit or put a lipstick on a pig because engineering is lazy as F. They don't do anything. They cannot deliver. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they smoke weed instead of showing up to work. You do all these things. You have this big blame on this group. They don't deliver, and we need to make up shit. That happened to be in many organizations that we used to say things like that. And you're saying, no. you shouldn't say engineering. It's probably there is somebody. It could be that it's head of engineering that is not doing her job to deliver, to drive delivery, or maybe it's something else. Maybe even say it's the engineering culture, or there is...
The culture is...
What do you think about this?
So a lot of times in an organization, it's a leadership problem.
So you're saying I shouldn't say, oh, engineering doesn't deliver. It's head of R&D. She doesn't deliver.
Yeah, or refuses to. And one of the things I like to put around this is there a process in place to kind of... One of the things that I love to put is, like, we just acquired a company called Asterix, and one of the things I was telling Ofik, one of the leaders that working for me, I said, look, you need to always have a process and a set of tickets to deal with issues, because then you can see where they get stuck. When you have a process, when everything is run in Slack, it's this amorphous Slack cloud of everybody joins in. You go into these channels with 180 people. It's really hard to say, that fucker's stalling everything. You put a ticket, you can say, hey, I'm expecting approval for this ticket. There's 5 people who are assigned this. Now I have 5 asses to kick, not a random Slack channel.
So it's very much like the rule number 1 when you are learning to emergency kind of deliver, that you're telling a specific person in the crowd, you with the red shirt, go call 911.
Yes.
You don't say, people, somebody call 911, because nobody actually is assigned responsibility. Nobody will do it. So you're saying when you are just calling when you have no specific accountability through ticketing or through something, it's just a Slack channel that everybody, we have an issue with this customer. 100 people on the Slack, nobody will take accountability of we need to fix it now, unless you quickly huddle the 3 people, take them on a call, and tell them this needs to be fixed. So it's moving from a general, they have the accountability, to person XYZ has accountability.
And you need to really quickly be able to triage accountability. And you go up the chain. Because usually when you go up the chain, then you discover that people are either covering for something, lack the skill. Like, there's a couple of tasks right now that are not getting done in the group that I work with. And people are saying, that group. I said, no, it's not that group. You need to understand. They own a piece of code that they inherited 60 years ago from the dawn of the dinosaurs. This person's in charge of this. He's spending time sustaining. His team doesn't know how to solve problem X. You can either help them, or you can do other things around it. But you need to understand, once you understand the other person and the other person's constraints and the other person's reasons to do things, you stop saying, it's your problem. No. A lot of times in these situations, it's not your problem. It's not making something else somebody else's problem. It's the ability to trace down things into actionable items. Because saying the company or saying socialism will eventually win, what is socialism and when will it win? You need to get down to
tax the rich.
Exactly, tax the rich. Who are the rich? You realize that you are the rich.
That happened in New York.
Yes.
It's so funny. Did you see it? When, everybody, there is like a group of pretty rich people that voted to Mamdani, and they were like all supporting his tax to billionaires. And then he came up with this new rule that if you have a second home that is worth, I don't know, more than 1.6 or something $million, which is every home.
Is a shoebox in the
York. Yeah, exactly. Every home. He'll put you on a list and, put it out there, and you can... So basically, everyone on those lists was like, WTF, why did he put me on the list now? And like, this is insane. And I didn't mean, I'm not a billionaire. I'm just, a regular person working in, I don't know, NYU and having an extra home in New York. Yeah. Huh?
This is the thing that people, when you say tax the rich or
who is rich? Everybody
or kill
everybody with
when you talk about groups and things like that, you don't understand that a lot of times you could be part of the group. You need to understand that eventually you need to understand where your shared lines are. So I don't like the us and them, and it's really ingrained in us because we are clans.
I think that's human behavior, right?
Human behavior
is like we are clan. Us and them is basically the basic survival of us, sociology. Yes. Like that's how we evolved, right?
Yeah.
You keep your fire, you keep your territory.
Yep.
So that's us and them is basic human being.
And you need to understand that in modern society, you can't assume the clan. You can choose to, but it creates...
I mean, for me, there is one clan, my family. That's it.
It's very good for personal life, but in a job, if you find that you try to integrate with other groups and you say that group sucks and that group sucks and that group sucks and that group sucks, that means you suck. You can, even if you have the best team in the world and you kind of look around and say everybody sucks, it means that you suck, because you need to be able to work with somebody. You need to be able to collaborate with somebody. And my view of the world is always try to track it down to who's the person that is responsible.
And by the way, sometimes there are some hard people to work with. So one of the ways to go is find somebody else to work in the same organization with, find your way around, or, suck it up. You can kvetch on the side and, complain, but still work with it. Yep. The other day I had a conversation with a team member that's working with somebody that it's hard. And I was like, feel free to reach out and we can commiserate. But still, suck it up and work, because the work needs to be done, even with people that you have some disagreement with, or like it's hard to. And I think it's actually very empowering for people to see, oh, yeah, it's hard to work. Like sometimes marketing and research, marketing and engineering, for example, is like water and oil. Yep. There is like sometimes mistrust. All you want to do is kind of like, you're hard selling. Yes, that's what we need to do. Yeah, yes. That's what brings your salary. Let's not forget. So yes, you need to help us. It's not like you build for your kind of...
So you see, this
non-profit.
See, this is a great example of a leadership problem. Every single person in my org has heard me say 15 million times, and if not, I'll say 15 million times more. We are not in the software making business. We're in the money making business. I don't care about perfect architecture. I don't care about software. For all I care, we can build the shittiest product that...
If people buy it, it's fine.
Exactly. If
you're in the money business.
Exactly. If it fits in the Cisco GTM, I did my job. I built something that Cisco can sell. Cisco can make money.
It would be nice to have a good software in it.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It could be that breaking down is the thing that makes them buy more.
It's true.
Look,
Apple.
So, if people are willing to buy this, the market is not stupid. Stuff that the market buys at our scale means that it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And therefore, we need to build what the market wants and sell to the market. And if engineering is not hearing from their engineering leader that their job is to help the company's bottom line, he's fucking up.
Okay.
Or she's fucking up.
Yeah.
If the marketing leader is basically not building bridges into engineering to help them understand what do customers want, they're doing something wrong.
I agree. That's the job of marketing and sales leadership.
Exactly. They need to explain, because one of the things that I was telling a lot of my salespeople when we were working together at Ort. I said, look, every customer will tell you this feature is nice. I want an answer of how much money are they willing to pay for this feature. This is the answer you need to get. Because engineering cost is a cost. If I need to build this feature, I'm not building something else. Now, your guess, my guess, everybody's guess, why would this machine start printing money, is everybody's guess. If you can come to me and say, look, this solves a specific problem, and this is stuff that I've worked with you, Tom, a lot on, this solves a very specific problem for a specific customer, they can quantify how much they're willing to spend for it. And this is what I'm expecting salespeople to come, because salespeople want to come in and ask for 1 million features, and they will always blame the lack of features for why the product was not bought. But that's bullshit. People buy for like 3 things, and they stay for 3 other things. But they don't buy for a laundry list. They buy something. They buy aspirin and Advil. They don't buy vitamins right now in the market that we're in. You can buy vitamins, but it's like to make you feel better. You buy Advil because your headaches. You pay money to solve headaches. So you need to understand that that's a conversation that needs to happen. Basically, trying to understand the other person, explain your side. Like one of the things that happens a lot right now is in big companies is you get California word salad. Like somebody reached out to me and sent me this long list of California word salad and said, you need to do something. And a big chunk of my employees got the same thing, and they said, HR is a problem. I said, no. Here's the person. And ask them, why are you sending me this, and why do you need me to do this? And if the person can explain, you go into the org chart, you look at his boss and say, hey, I've been getting this stuff. Why is this a problem? Right now, I'm working with a group that deals with resources and planning. You ask them, why is this not moving forward? Oh, it's a process problem. Can we resolve the process? Is this a person problem? How come when you drill down and try to understand, it helps you move things along versus being despaired?
Yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit briefly on P&G and Cisco of where it is the company and where we need to differentiate between the person and the company.
Okay.
Cisco sells switches and routers. It makes a lot of money out of networking. People will buy Cisco for networking, and it's very, very good at this. Yes, there's other things that it does, but it sells in a very specific way, and it makes a lot of money in a very specific way. And there's a lot of systems in place that were put in place to make that part of the business insanely efficient.
Right. And that's the priority of the business. And everything else is secondary.
Everything else is secondary.
It's like if you are, I'll give you the equivalent of P&G and consumer goods, distribution, supply chain, saving cents on every item is a huge moat. Like at the end of the day, you're selling fragranced water, if you think about what's a shampoo, and you put on top all the branding and storytelling, blah, blah, blah. But the business is shipping a bottle with liquid from manufacturing side to the shelf. And then if it's through e-commerce to your home, and that's a business.
And a lot of the companies have built a DNA that has been built for a very long time, that the business works in a very specific way.
Yeah.
To change how that business works is very hard because it's not that individual. Because what happens
is... It's engraved in the systems, in the beliefs, in the DNA of the company.
It's ingrained in the systems that were put in place and the systems that have survived. And a lot of times what happens is that you will try to change them, and then you're fighting the windmills. And then you will feel...
It's like the conversation you had this week about, the aerospace industry in Israel and why things don't move. Mm-hmm. They don't need to.
They don't need
the timeline over there is different.
Exactly. You need to understand how the company is ingrained, and you need to embrace it. And this is where it is the company, but it needs to be a big company. It needs to be a successful company.
So basically, there are places that there are areas that an individual needs to understand, and it's not they, as in they people. It's basically, yes, when you enter a specific company, especially the big ones, the IBMs, the Ciscos, the P&G, the whatever, yes, you are entering into a well-oiled machine. It's basically an aircraft that shifting is not happening very fast. And to shift it to one side or another costs a lot. So it's rarely done, and they think about it. And by the way, it's not for everyone. Versus, startups that by definition, they don't have all that. They don't have something that's working. Part of the problem is that they may shift 10 times a year because they don't know what sticks. They're going to try a lot of stuff. It may be kind of feel very zigzaggy and, chaotic. And in many times it is chaotic. And this is also not for everyone. So yeah, in the same way, I can tell you in startup world, like, I had a conversation with a candidate about a very, a new role that the person basically needs to come and create. And I was telling him, I have no idea. I have a vision of what success of this role would be, but it's completely up to you. And this person is coming from a medium, but already well-established company with a lot of processes and everything and a secure job. And I was like, I think you're right for the job, and I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. But you do need to ask yourself, like, do you want to take the risk of zigzagging, not knowing where you're going, only relying on yourself, no system in place to help you? It's up to you. And for some people, it's the most exciting and fun thing. And I can tell you something, people think it's going to be exciting, and then they completely crash and hate it. I've seen a lot of people, mostly in sales, I've seen a lot of salespeople moving from large organizations, selling at Palo Alto, selling at Cisco, at CrowdStrike, when most of their job, and it's a wonderful job that they're doing and it's hard by itself, is, it's farming. It's increasing the spend of current customers, making sure they're happy, schmoozing with them. This is very different than getting into a startup that is undefined, the market is not there, the budget is not there, you need to whale hunt yourself, you need to... It's a completely different
I'll tell you that the thing that drives a lot of them crazy is not even that. It's the lack of they don't... What happens a lot of times is when you work in the bigger companies, there's many systems in place that you don't realize are there. But they're like... Dave, how do you call the extra wheels that you put on bicycles when you teach kids how to...
Training wheels.
Training wheels. It's like training wheels. You don't realize that the training wheels are there. Like, you put something in Salesforce.
There is a CRM working.
There's a Salesforce. You put stuff in the Salesforce. Right. Somebody calls somebody after the Salesforce. There's a service now that triggers something. Somebody calls it. You don't need to chase Gartner and convince Gartner that they want to talk to you. There's already an established cadence of Gartner analysts. And you don't know a lot of times what's the difference between an inquiry and an update.
Vendor briefing.
Exactly. There's a million of these things. You don't know that all these things happen.
They're like completely transparent. The organization have taken that. And now if you're coming to a startup, there is nothing.
Yes.
It's all on you.
Exactly.
You need to make your number.
Yes.
Plus, which is hard because you don't have a base of customers that you just renew with. So you need to make your number selling, plus having a bunch of unrelated work that you never thought about when you're in a big company, which is maintaining your CRM, talking with the external freelance that is helping you do it. There's so much. And there is then the tendency of saying, oh, this company. No. This is what you sign yourself.
Exactly.
And it's the opposite when you sign yourself for Cisco.
Yep.
And when you're going to, that has its own
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. And this is the thing that you need to understand where there is the company, but you need to understand that that company does very specific things. So if you work for a company like Cisco, expect it to be very, very good and very, very efficient, and everything looks like a switch or a router, and it's very amazing at handling the supply chain from sand into the product that is silicone, and it does this in a very efficient way. And you need to understand that that's what it does. If you come from a Google or a Microsoft, you will come with a lot of understanding of how SaaS works. There will be a million systems in place that will measure your COGS and understand your cloud
retention.
Exactly. And CSN, they'll understand how CS needs to work for engagement and retention and ARR and NR. There's a lot of stuff in place,
right,
that does all these things for you. You don't need to invent this.
It's a working machine.
It's a working machine. You know, like in Netflix, you release a feature and it doesn't, and there's even a micro dip in number of viewership. Your feature immediately gets injected because the system is built to track those numbers intentionally. And that's where you need to understand that there is a system in place. And what, as you said, did you buy a minivan or did you buy an SUV? You bought a minivan behaves in a certain way. An SUV behaves in a different way. A scooter behaves in a different way. You need to understand which one of they are, and don't blame them for being that. But going back to the main thing, you need to be able to quickly differentiate between what is the system and what is the things that make the company successful, and that's why it's there. And fighting it, you need to be very careful. It could be that it needs a change. Could be that it needs a change, but that's G2's job, not my job. My job is to be able to work and be very successful in my part of the paradigm. Because making a paradigm shift, like making us go from being the best hardware vendor out there to something that sells SaaS very well, it's a shift. Somebody needs to do this. It could be us. It could be somebody. But you need to understand understand that this is a big undertaking versus when you go and ask for a feature and it goes into a black hole. Then it's usually one person or that a flawed process. You need to understand, is this a flawed person or a flawed process? Most of the time, it's a flawed person. Because what will happen is when we start joining Duo, Josefa used to open 1 million tickets and ask for people, we need to make this change. You need to make this change. You need to make this change. I said, this is not their day job. This is not what they're measured on. This is not what their boss is asking them to do. This is not what they believe in. Why should they do this? The incentives are not in place to deal with this. And we're not making good case to make this because we're this. And there's a $600 million business. There's a roadmap that is in place. And also specifically, I'm not sure that we're winning hearts and minds across the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this is the thing that you need to realize whenever you say, like, you acquire a new company. And G2 did something brilliant. I think in one of the big presentations at Cisco Live, I think we acquired a company called Galileo. He said, we're very proud of them. Everybody's in a Galileo t-shirt. This is the last time you're wearing this. From this point on, you're Cisco.
Sure.
This is a big message that
You still have a Duo shirt. Like, Duo is not the case. Not now. But
yes, but that's the thing. That right now we're doing Fabric, and this is what we're doing. We're one team. If you work for me, I don't care if you came from 20 years with me or you came in through a new thing. You now work for me. And creating isolationism, I'm very, very allergic to it. And I'm very good at detecting isolationism.
Cool.
So no us and them, no clanning. Clanning is a very good way to create also hostility because it's this big machine. It causes frustration. This is, I think, that I'm going to go on my soapbox and say that this is part of our problem with our society. It's very easy when you sit behind a computer and behind Slack and not sit in an office. That's the us and them. It's the them. This is why people are allowing themselves to write bullshit on the internet because, as Mike Tyson once said, Dave, you remember this one?
Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yes, and it's very easy to throw rocks at somebody that's, across the internet. It's much harder to come into, Dave is like 6'4", it's harder to come in and tell him and talk smack to him because
I'm only 6'3".
okay.
All right.
From my decreasing size.
And I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yes, but that's kind of part of my soapbox of think of how to build those bridges and maybe go back to the office and stop creating separation.
I think part of it is remote work also helps create this, like you don't see people, so it's all in your head.
It's easy to say, to talk smack at people that are
you never have lunch with.
Exactly.
Awesome.
I'm off my soapbox now. No us and them.
No us and them. Great. Well, the Didi and Lital show is a weekly podcast. Please rate, review, comment wherever you're getting your podcast. It helps the algorithm. Like us and share us even more. Share this with friends, with your co-worker, with
but
people.
But don't share it with them.
Don't share it with them. Share it with us. We will see you next week. Goodbye. We're off to Rochester, New York.